Raven Dragoon, and I'm here to help review a replay by one Nick Weekpa, or sup man, the Crystal Maiden. He messaged me on Reddit and replied to my thread and said that he is a 2.7k Crystal Maiden player, and this was a pretty good game for him, but there are some aspects where he thinks he could do better. So let's take a look at the game. Crystal Maiden is a bit of an interesting hero. Even though she's been played in the 5 position, some of my friends believe that she belongs in the 4th position now, mostly due to the change to jungle that makes jungle creeps give less experience. It used to be that you could go to jungle and kill the first creep that spawns with Frostbite Clarity, and then kill the next big creep, and by that point you'd have like a level 2 and then a little bit of extra XP. So you'd have like a 1 minute 30 arcane aura. This is no longer possible due to the changes to jungle. Ordinarily, I would say start in jungle, but I think right now you're better off going for a level 1 kill attempt on somebody and then retreating to jungle. The enemy team has a really strong level 1 rune contest. They have Pudge and Ancient Apparition, which is very scary to be up against. Chilling Touch is one of the best level 1 abilities in the game. It's 50 damage times 3 attacks, so 150. If you get it on your whole team, it's 150 times 5, which is a lot. That's 750 damage that's just added to your right clicks. Plus Rot is one of the best level 1s. I think it is the best level 1 slow in the game. Very, very, very effective. So I feel like you're already in a somewhat bad situation here. So your starting items are, looks like you got the Courier, an Obs, a Tango, Windlace, and Iron Branch, Smoke. Looks like Earthshaker got the other ward. I was concerned for a second that you might have given the ward to your mid and just expected him to place it, but generally you can just place it yourself. So let's see where you place the first Obs. Looks like you're getting the rune. The level 1 rune doesn't give you experience, so I personally don't agree with this, but if Terrorblade wasn't there, then... Was he jungling? Oh my god. This is truly 2k shitter. Okay. Notice that they saw this, right? Like, I just put the fog on for Radiant, and if you rewind a little bit, you will see yourself. Now the ping is bugged, but you walked up and then purple pinged you, right? So they saw this ward. If you'd placed it like up here, if you'd walked up these stairs to the left and then placed it here, that would have been an okay ward. The other option is that you could just walk through here and place the ward here on the screen. And basically you just don't want to show where your first ward is going. In higher levels of play, if people see that, a lot of support players just start with the sentry and they'll just instantly get it, so it goes to waste. The other option is you could have smoked and warded right in the high ground, which is another option that you could have done. I've seen people do that. Generally it's okay if you don't really have ganking heroes on your team. You just want to make sure your mid gets a nice good farming start. This could have been a situation where you could do that because Necro doesn't have an excellent early game. He's actually a rather weak laner and can be heavily punished by roamers. So if we go back to your vision, you are roaming mid to try and punish the Storm Spirit. This is not a bad idea. Earthshaker is taking farm top, and Terrorblade is jungling for some reason, and Fenrir Assassin is solo bottom. So I'm okay with this. However, you need to be sure that you're doing it effectively. I wish you'd started with the Clarity here, because until you get Arcane Aura, you don't have much regen to speak of, and your base int is so low you can only cast Frostbite only once. Casting twice costs 280, you only have 273. Granted, by the time it comes off cooldown, you're probably going to have the mana just from passive regen, but this just strikes me as hopeful of getting your level 2. If you sit mid and soak your level 2, you are taking away experience from the Necro, which means he has a late Ghost Shroud, and if, say, Pudge comes to try and kill him, or if somebody else tries to come and kill him, or maybe Storm Spirit tries like an early gank attempt, he doesn't have Ghost Shroud to try and protect himself from the right clicks from overcharge. This is probably not going to happen this game, however, due to the fact that they don't really have heroes that want to gank, and well, they do, Pudge, but he's in lane, and he started with a questionable Bracers first build. I'm glad you didn't Frostbite the Storm Spirit, and I'm glad you're just retreating to the jungle. Okay, good. You're pulling this out of camp. I like this. But note that you don't have level 2. You sapped experience from mid, which means you're going to have to kill one more creep, but if you just started in jungle, you would not have level 2 right now. Okay, that was a mistake. You shouldn't have killed the small one. You should have stacked it at 53 or just moved on to a different camp and then killed that big creep. Now, you're shit out of mana, and you're not level 2, which means you don't have Arcane Aura, and that's really bad. You know Ancient Apparition and Sniper are bot, I believe. So, this is now risky. In addition to the fact that you know Legion is jungling somewhere and she could just walk up and start hurting you. Apparently she's over here because I can hear it through the fog 4. Replays are buggy. So now you've just sat around for like 30 seconds. Looks like you're going to see the Legion, you're going to whack her, this is good. But imagine if you'd started with a Clarity, you would have had Frostbite and maybe you would have gotten her very low. Now you're taking her creeps. Okay, now you have Arcane Aura, good. The other option is you could have just stood on the high ground. If you'd taken a different route. Ooh, this is bad. Yeah. So, the way I would have played this is, if somebody's taking your jungle, and you can't fall back to jungle because you know somebody's in it, you gotta have a presence in the lanes. You could be denying the Pudge experience. Pudge is level 4 almost right now at 3 minutes. If you had pulled this twice, you would be having a lot better time right now. You would be getting experience without having to use Frostbite. You could have afforded to start with Clarities if you had been pulling this. In addition, Pudge is very bad at contesting pulls because he's slow and has low armor. Alright, let's rewind that and see if they saw it. So it looks like they don't have a ward here, but you're in lane, and then you walk over here, and then when you next come back out of lane, you don't have a ward in your inventory. A careful player will notice that and immediately get it, the same thing as before. You need to be highly cognizant of vision. One of the things that made me improve so much was I just started to be aware of when the enemies could and could not see me. And the answer is, it's not like in theater where if you can see the audience can see you, because people have different vision ranges. Creeps, for instance, have lower vision range than heroes by a lot. Even at daytime, they're like 700, I think. However, heroes have the same night vision and the same day vision, unless your name is Mirana, Luna, Night Stalker, or Bat Rider. Those guys are the only 4 with different vision, I believe. And of course there are wards as well. You don't want a ward where somebody else already has a ward because then they're just going to see it and immediately kill yours. Alright, good stuff. Alright, you almost didn't let him go. I personally just take kills even if I'm not sure, because shit like that happens where the other person thinks, oh, my support will get it, so I'm just going to move back. You just want to be sure. Okay. I like the fact that you have 2 in Arcane Aura. It's really helping out your Necro mid. It's helping him out quite a lot. It's also helping out your Phantom Assassin. She has cheap spells, but they're not so cheap that they're irrelevant to her mana pool. Yeah. Be aware that the creeps can see you through this gap right here, where the tree's been cut down. You can always watch for trees that have been cut down. I wouldn't have run them to the right. I would have run them up, just to get them immediately to the creep, so I don't take right clicks from Sniper or Ancient Apparition. Okay, I actually can't see how many wards there are in the inventory. I'm guessing there's like 1 or 2, which is fine. I would have actually waited to buy that at the side shop because this lane is taking hits underneath the tower. Therefore, you know it's going to push out pretty soon. This is risky. You have 1 armor, 400 health. You know there's a Legion in jungle, and you know Ancient Apparition might be pulling. Right? This could be another death, just like the first one. Looks like you want the rune, but there's no rune because it's 5.5 minutes. I don't know what the point of this excursion is. You can't really punish a Legion. Because if she's going to get press the attack because she's in jungle. Which means the second you frostbite her, if you didn't use it on the creep, she just press the attacks herself. This is really dumb. I'm not going to lie. I think you should be up top pulling the small camp. And if Terrorblade says, fuck you, I want the small camp, you say, fuck you, don't jungle Terrorblade. Although not that rude. Don't be rude. Work with your team. The only thing that matters is you get the plus 25. And it looks like the Tranquil Boots are on the courier, which means they're only now getting to you. You would have had them slightly sooner if you got them at the side shop. Okay. I'm fine with your skill build. You should take that, yeah. And then you could stack the medium camp and then kill the Alpha Wolf because it's fairly weak. Okay, good. You know the stack timing for this camp. A lot of people try to pull it at 53 and then they miss it. This one can be pulled at 57 if you pull it down. Alright, this is really stupid. You have 3 deaths from walking into their jungle without any vision. The only time you can walk into the enemy jungle is if you see, if you know they're in lane. And especially not if you know they have a jungler. But I'm not going to lie, this is getting a little ridiculous. You should be up top pulling, trying to bully the Pudge. Because he's level 7 right now. Yeah, even the enemy Storm Spirit, like, please don't place wards like that, because they'll just immediately get killed. It's lucky that you didn't place the Observer ward, because it's the easiest D-ward of the enemy Ancient Apparition's life. If you look at Radiant Vision, this is one of the most common wards for Radiant. Personally, I don't think it should be because it doesn't cover a whole lot. I like this one more because it covers this entrance to jungle as well as this guy, as well as the enemy shrine and this staircase. Whereas this guy only covers the route to mid, but you'd get this anyway if you were using this ward. So you know they're going to have a ward here or here, and if not there, they're going to have it here because they want to have the rune ward and they want to be watching the entrance to their own jungle for obvious reasons. Reasons like a Crystal Maiden who's wandering into it. Okay, I like your skill build. I hope you get a stick, because they cast a lot of spells. Sniper will cast Shrapnel a bunch of times at once. Storm Spirit's going to be casting a lot of spells. Stick is just a 200 gold item that's just going to make her life a whole lot easier. Very rarely will I have games that I just skip stick as a support. If I'm playing a carry, I will sometimes skip stick if I'm just getting gold really, really, really fast. Maybe don't always upgrade it to wand, but I almost never skip stick. I actually cannot think of an enemy lineup that I would want to skip stick against. Okay, good. Good stuff. Yeah. See how low your mana pool is? Like 100, 140 out of 350. By the time you hit 6, you will not actually be able to cast all your spells at once. So I would be fine with you skipping Freezing Field at 6. Okay. You don't need to be here right-clicking the creeps. You're just messing up Neko's last hits. Even if he's a subpar player, removing last hits from him does detract from some of his potential strengths. If somebody is a good player once they have money, don't take money away from them, even if they're mediocre at last hitting. I do like this ward. You just killed Sniper, so you know he's not here. You probably saw Legion top to this Observer ward. You saw Pudge top to this Observer ward. You know Storm is mid to because you know Tower, and you know Ancient Apparition is hiding. This is a very safe Observer ward because it's very rare that they will have Radiant wards in their own jungle. Generally, they will have their wards marking entrances to jungle, which in this case just expired. I really like this. You could also place it here or here, but this is getting into range of this guy. I'm honestly amazed that this ward exists right now. This is a terrible ward. It covers... It doesn't really do anything for Radiant because they have both of their tier 1 towers, and no one's going to invade jungle this deep unless they're... Yeah. Bad idea to invade jungle that deep. Looks like somebody's pinging. Looks like Ancient Apparition. Alright, this guy's a dumbass. He just right-clicked a creep, which means he's gonna die now. Alright, I like that you frostbit the sniper and not the Ancient Apparition. I like that you're applying a few right-clicks, but you gotta be real careful because you're getting low. If this Legion had gone a different skill build, you might have died to the overwhelming odds on the creeps. Oh wait, no, that's a Radiant creeps, never mind. Yeah, you gotta run these back to lane ASAP, or you can just have them attack their jungle camp. I would be fine with you having these, like, right-clicking this Satyr and having these creeps fight and just taking farm from that. That's, in my opinion, a wise choice because you know you basically just won that. Well, they're sending in reinforcements, and PA died. But you could still sick it on these creeps and then just stand in the trees here and then absorb XP from it. The other option is you just run to your tower and hope to get back to lane. And now see they're attacking your Necro. Yeah, look at that Ghost Shroud. Guess it doesn't purge, he just walked out of the range of it at the same time he activated it. Okay. Since you have... Ooh. I think this is a mistake. I don't think you should have leveled Crystal Nova more. I think you should be leveling Arcane Aura more. I would be okay with you getting more levels in things like Crystal Nova or Frostbite if you had a team that didn't really want your mana. However, Nekar really wants your mana, and you're going to have trouble casting all your shit. You have a 260 combined mana cost. Once you get Freezing Field, it's going to be 460, which is more than you currently have, right? So you already don't want to push it. I think getting a Magic Wand is justifiable this game, simply because it gives you more int. Crystal Maiden has int problems, really bad.
This'll come in handy.
Alright, you're jungling this. Yep. Alright, you pulled it too early, that's fine. I think you might have just been moving it elsewhere for other reasons. Okay. This Pudge is a problem, partly because he has 1500 health from his double bracer build. I think you guys can defend this if you could help. Alright. Crystal Nova. Yeah. So if you had Crystal Nova'd, like, on the edge of the range, so like look at the range of Crystal Nova. If you had, when you walked up to the Pudge when he was here, if you'd cast Crystal Nova such that the edge of the radius of the spell was on Pudge, you probably could have gotten him because he would have been slowed by it. Terribly could have... I guess he doesn't have Reflection. That's probably a normal skill build. Okay, good that you saw that. Great that you dodged that. So it looks like he doesn't have a ward here. However, if I had seen that from my perspective, I might have thought he had a ward. It looks like he just saw from the creeps that you were going this way and predicted it, which is hard to tell sometimes. Okay, it looks like you got another ward and a Tome of Knowledge. That looks like he just went in and went out. Now he's basically out of mana. Oh, he has a regen rune. Walking up here was risky. You know the Pudge just left, but you also know that their tower has vision to almost the staircase. So if the Pudge had been like, oh, I'm about to leave, but Crystal Maiden is walking forward here, he could have just turned around and then hooked you. That could have been a death. Luckily, he left completely and went top. Dota is a game where you're operating on semi-limited information, and part of the game is getting more information, but part of the game is also inferring from things that aren't there. The things that you aren't seeing are almost as useful as the things that you are seeing. Okay. You can see 2 Radiant heroes right now, so I would play kind of safe. Looks like you're TPing top. Okay, looks like they're almost getting the sniper. Alright. Yep, I'm fine with that. I'm glad you got a 1. Blink Dagger is a good item on Crystal Maiden. What's important to think about whenever you buy an initiation item like Blink is... Oh, you warded here, that's right. I thought for a second you warded in front of them, and then the ward just got killed. For the record, an excellent ward when you are trying to defend somebody who's farming safe lane is like just in the middle of lane, and you can plant it at nighttime when tower range is very low. Like, tower range is here for true sight, and then it's about to here at nighttime for normal vision, I think. Nighttime is very effective. So you can just plant a ward like in the middle of lane when the creeps aren't there. You can even memorize what times the creeps walked forward. It's an excellent ward to defend the Earthshaker. It makes him know when the sniper has TP forward, because even if the tower's range of vision is reduced at night, your wards are not. Okay, I like that you're not getting more than 2 points in Crystal Nova. I would argue that you should have Arcane Aura max by now. I hope that when you get level 8 you max it. It really helps Necro. Okay, good. Considering it's 14 minutes and you're halfway to Blink, you'd be like almost there if you hadn't died 3 times. And if you had been alive during that time and you had pulled, you could be at like 2,000 gold right now, despite the fact that you're warding. Maybe I might be overestimating this because I'm not great at telling that stuff, but you definitely have a lot more gold. Okay. Okay, you're pulling. You should have been doing this earlier in the game, but it's not bad that you're doing it now. Just make sure. Yeah, see, I don't like this because most of the threats that are going to come top are not going to come through here. Storm Spirit is going to probably meander top through his own jungle, getting this bounty room, unless he gets a haste here or something like that. So I personally think this should be in lane. On the other hand, you are playing against the Pudge, so this is not bad because it covers this area over here. I think you should be absorbing the XP from this, certainly, and getting the last hits as well. Right now you are doing something. I don't know why the creeps targeted you from that far away. That's actually really strange. Okay, you didn't necessarily need to blast that. You might just want to let the creeps kill themselves on it, and then you can just deny them to get some experience. That is an out of mana Storm Spirit. He should die. Great job. I think you saw that from a while away and you were like, oh, let's just go kill the Storm Spirit, which is a good call. And you're saying Shrine. You don't need to be here. You're full mana and you have an aura. Although it looks like you're going to help him with Ancients. I would almost just prefer it if you just started farming jungle. You want your Blink. I think Blink is perhaps not the item in this game. When I started this train of thought earlier, but I forgot to finish it. When you're evaluating whether you want to get an initiation item like Blink, you want to see whether other people on your team already have initiation. Like Earthshaker already has Blink. He just bought it, right? That's a 16-minute Earthshaker Blink. So he already has a lot of catch. Oh shit. Okay, I wanna see what the state of this is when you TP bot. Okay. So PA's running, she's ice blasted. Necro's running, and this is the point at which you decide to TP. Just before she got hooked. You know Legion probably has duel if she's walking forward. You know PA is low health and doesn't have a major item yet. And you know Storm is kind of fat because he was mid and got a lot of farm and a lot of experience. I can see why you would TP here, but I think it was a mistake. You're dead. items. Check items a lot. Check your allies' items. Check your enemies' items. Because since you know that Earthshaker's going Blink, you might not have to get yours so fast. Because Blink doesn't offer any defensiveness. It also doesn't offer... it doesn't offer any survivability. I think a Glimmer Cape is very good this game because your team doesn't have any invis heroes, right? And they output a lot of magic damage. You can Glimmer out, and because this is 2K, they're probably not going to break detection, which makes it better than it would be at higher levels, which is still good. Even at higher levels of play, people forget to bring detection, especially when they're against a team that, by all accounts, you don't expect to have invis, which makes Glimmer Cape stronger. I don't know how I feel about this, because I feel like you almost don't need more catch. You need to make it so that your PA and your Earthshaker are more of a threat, so that the blink initiation from Earthshaker can be easily followed up by PA just deleting somebody. I feel like that's how you need to do it. And if they turn on them, or if they turn on Terrorblade, you can just Glimmer and try to save them. Look at that. Blink is effective. Wow, you got Necro dual win. Great job. Alright. Alright, I want to watch that fight again. Okay, so you think I'm gonna go farm bottom. Your team is thinking other things. When you're support player, stick with your team. I think you could have been here sooner. And maybe stop the storm from getting away. Right, that's really my only thought on that. When you're support, especially if you're like Crystal Maiden, you can't really farm lane creeps fast. There's not a lot to be said for going to lane and farming on your own when your team is clearly thinking of different things. If your team isn't farming the easily available lane creeps, there's probably a reason for that. Oh, it looks like the Earthshaker messed up his blink and accidentally teleported back towards Fountain. It's okay. Yeah, but if your carries aren't farming the lane, it's probably because they're looking for kills, and you should go with them to look for kills. The times you should be farming lane are if your carries just died, for instance. You did smoke in front of creeps, they definitely saw that. You also know that they're going to be scared because they know that you're a 5-man group right now. This guy's a moron. Yeah, he doesn't even, he has a ward here. Yeah, so if he had been watching the creeps here, he would have seen the smoke and then known not to do that, but he's a moron.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Okay. Looks like you're teleporting top. Yeah, so it looks like Pudge has blink. That makes it more reasonable for you to have one. I'd almost prefer that you went 4-step first. But I think 20-minute blink is okay. Just walk towards the side shot, grab the blink. One thing I will recommend is that you put blink to a hotkey that is on quick cast. Oh, look at that catch. So I think I would have gone Frostbite with more levels, especially because you're against the Storm Spirit. I don't think there's a whole lot of value in it. And now you're really wishing you had your ult right now. Looks like you're winning the team fight anyway. So I do roam through the enemy jungle at low levels, but I do it on heroes like Bounty Hunter or Night Stalker who are fairly durable. Or like a Pudge where I'm specifically looking for a kill. I think Crystal Maiden is the wrong hero to do this with. Farming the enemy jungle is just, to my mind, not a good idea. And then, yeah, I guess taking the tome is fine. I was about to check whether Earthshaker was lower level because I feel like his 12 is somewhat more important than yours because yours doubles the mana cost, which means you actually, once again, cannot cast all your spells. This is why a lot of Crystal Maiden players leave their ult at level 1. Alright, looks like you're farming. Picking up on the inefficiencies of your carries is fine. I'm glad you didn't stay in lane, because if you stay in lane for like more than one wave, the enemy team is going to be thinking, oh, Crystal Maiden's pushing bot. Alright, fine with this. Also fine with you going Glimmer next. I'm glad you got the casual cloak. Alright, I'm also glad you're splitting the warding duties with Earthshaker. This game would be harder if you were not. Looks like you blinked and caught that guy. It's pretty good. The thing is, Earthshaker did it as well, which means you're wasting... well, I thought he wasted Echo for a second. Never mind. Looks like the blink is doing better than I thought it would. I will add to that, however, plays like this are risky because you're just blinking really deep. It's less risky, however, because your team has two other blink initiations, Earthshaker and PA. So you're having an easier time because you're blinking on people and then your team can immediately follow up. I think if you had a different lineup, you would blink on people and then your team's like, we're coming, Crystal Maiden. Never mind, you're dead. Which is unfortunate. In that case, I think the correct item is Force Staff. I think you could have gone Force Staff this game as well. Blink is by no means bad, but Earthshaker blinks in and you can chain stun people for like 6 seconds. So you have plenty of time to walk forward and then casually Force Staff your way forward and then Frostbite, you know. And then this is unfortunate. I think your next item should be Glimmer. And that's fine.
This should make my life easier.
Alright, I hope you blink forward and stun the storm. Alright, that's unfortunate. He's out of mana though. I think you meant to stun the storm, that's fine. Totally fine. I feel like there are wards you're missing that I can't see in the inventory screen. Oh, this, I don't know if you placed this. This is not useful. Your tier 2 is already dead. You might have placed it before the tier 2 is dead, but tier 2s aren't that important. Like, it's not like 7.04 where if your tier 2s are all dead, their shrines are vulnerable. This, I just much rather you smoke and then go through the jungle and place it here. This is a way better ward because it tells you who's farming and you have a very ganky lineup. They do too, but they're on the back foot because you have a big gold advantage and you also have like a 10k net worth or experience lead. When you're on the front foot and you're just trying to close out the game, trying to get a bigger advantage, you just want to be placing wards in aggressive locations. You also should be carrying a couple casual sentries in case you ever need to deward stuff like this. Like a sentry ward here would do you wonders for dewarding this whole region. And you clearly know that they know, so there's only really a couple places that can have that ward. I think there's a lot to be said for carrying casual sentries. However, many position 5 or position 4 players carry too many sentries. They try to deward literally all spots on the map at once. I'm glad you're playing this slightly greedier. I generally only deward if I see somebody place it or if I see somebody act in a way that they couldn't know if they didn't have a ward, you know? You don't need to be here. You don't need a shrine. You could walk around a little bit, act as a mobile ward for your team, just giving vision. Okay. Looks like you're invading. Yeah. You, I think you broke the smoke. That would have been a better ward if you hadn't broken the smoke, because now they see it. That's also a very common ward spot, and you can totally deward there. Like, that is one of the few spots that I just casually throw a sentry down to if I'm near it, because it's very common to do a ward there. This Terribly should have just been pushing with illusions. I don't know why he would go into that alone when he knows that the enemy team aren't on the map. You don't need that. Your PA doesn't need it either, but I just don't see the reason to take it. I'm okay with taking runes that you don't need if the enemy team is about to get them. But in this case, what's the enemy team going to do? You know where they are because you have the sword. And it looks like Pudge is pinging it because he saw it, because you did it right under ward vision. This is common 2K shit, where you just ward right where they already have vision. I will say, I think drums are not the choice right now. I think it's too late for drums. I think, I also just don't think Crystal Main's a good drum carrier. I feel like I'd rather have it on a hero that enjoys the stats more. Like, what does drums give? Yeah, like, 6 of int and strength, mana regen damage, and a badass aura that gives you attack speed. See, even if your team's getting the aura when you're with them, you are primarily getting the aura when you're farming, and I think drums are not so good for that purpose on Crystal Maiden, unless you're getting the damage channel, which I guess you did. So, I guess I'm okay with it. I'd rather have a 4-step though. I think you could have got 15% magic resist this game. Pudge outputs a lot of magic damage, so does Sniper. You haven't lived through hell if you haven't seen level 25 plus 4 shrapnel charges, in addition to 25% cooldown reduction, 20 shrapnel DPS. It's disgusting, like your whole screen is just shrapnel. And I think in this case, you really want the magic resistance. 15% is a lot. And in addition to Glimmer Cape, it makes you very survivable versus things like Ice Blast. Okay. You are taking very little damage to it already, however. He's gonna have an axe. So this is 3 times now that you've accidentally frostbit the wrong person. Oh, great. Excellent. Storm Spirit had some greed for that rune there. He should have just left. That's bad play by him. Okay, now you have drums. Okay, looks like you want to take this tower. Oh, you already took it. I think you could have maybe lucked in frostbit that guy. I like that you're not attacking this. Because Storm's probably going to fall in right now. But that was a little too far away. You could have been like here while they were over here. I also like the fact that you're just running, you're not trying to save your dumb allies who died. For a lot of that, they were all dead. You could have hit buildings, or you could just stayed slightly behind. You hit pretty pathetically right now. Once a second for 150, whereas PA hits for like twice that, twice as fast. You don't want to bring Tranquils because it's a lot of movement speed, as you saw. Oh great, you actually got on the right person. Good stuff, but you're not dead to Ice Blast. So yeah, I think if you'd taken the magic resistance talent, a lot of your damage was coming from Storm Spirit and Ancient Apparition, especially versus Chilling Touch, which is like a disgusting amount of damage. It's 80 times 6 times however many people you cast it on. You can totally just grab the magic resistance talent, then you're pretty immune. You take like 40% of the damage you should. Hope that guy dies. Not yet. Yeah, that was suicide. She got too greedy. They also had vision there. It's kind of a strange ward, but it worked out for them. They probably did it as they were pushing high ground. You're thinking you want to push bot. Unfortunately, your team's thinking other things, and you realize this, so you leave. I don't know why you TP top. Oh, you TP deny, it's fine. You could also just tell your team to deny because they're right there. You could have just been farming these jungle camps. Looks like you blinked in and Storm Spirit gets fine. Alright. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm glad you're going 4-staff now. It's unfortunate that your Tranquil Boots were put into your backpack when you TP. I think you should have just swapped out the wand. Tranquil Boots are just too good, especially on slow heroes. you're getting this. You can go directly bot. I used to think that you had to like have creeps bot to go bot. Nope. Your team should be immediately transitioning right now. They're killing the minor buildings. Not killing the minor buildings, but they switched. Alright, I think you could have kept fighting that. But then again, you didn't have Echo and you didn't have Frostfield. And you didn't have Metamorphosis anymore, so I guess it's okay that you're leaving. Playing it safe is okay. And Duel is up, I guess. And Ice Blast was ready probably at that time. You see how I'm saying things and then after I check ults or I check items or I check Metamorphosis, I'm changing my mind? You should be doing this too. Because then you need to, like, as a support player, it is probably basically your job to check this stuff. Oh yeah, and you can't ward with Glimmer Cape. You come out of it or come into it too late. Looks like they want this. I think you maybe could have seen her from over here. That was a good play by her to blink in. Looks like your team doesn't know about this. Yeah, so as a support player, you should be checking the status of your ultimates, you should be checking major items. I check items so much now, it's crazy. I am now way more cognizant. Even if you see, like, oh, it looks like Storm Spirit has a Perseverance plus ultimate, or I wonder what he's building. You know, just stuff like that, and then you can predict that he's going to have a Lincoln Spear unless you kill him a bunch in between. Before he can finish it. Looks like a fight's brewing. Alright, I think I really just think, yeah. That was a bad idea. Okay, so I used to do this too. Like, I'll say, oh, they have vision here. I need to get rid of it, right? And then you put Tranquils into your backpack. You put smoke into your inventory. You put the sentry into your inventory, and then you walk up to it. Okay, there are two options here. One is that you sentry ward there, and then you completely whiff, so you wasted a sentry. The other option is, because you know they're all there, you just die, because you know they have a ward there. If you know they have a ward there, why are you dewarding it right in front of their team? Right? You need to win a team fight first, which sounds kind of backwards, because you know, they have vision. How can you win a team fight without vision? Or when they have vision, but you can also just have your team placed defensively around you while you do ward. You can communicate with that to them over mic. I used to do this a lot too. I'm just like, oh, they have vision. Let me oh, fuck.